Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the October 14th, 2025 regular Town of Three Rivers Council meeting to order. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory, Epelwick, Prince Edward Island. Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. I have regrets from Deputy Mayor Jenkins this evening, and I'd like to let everyone know that we'll be having a closed session. Items 11 and 12 at the end of the agenda are in a closed session, so the meeting will be closed at that time. And we would ask people to leave the chamber at that time. So the first item on our agenda, or the second, is approval of tonight's agenda. Okay, moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed, seconded by Councillor Spin. Any additions, changes, or? Okay, all in favor? Okay. Does anybody have a conflict of interest on anything on the agenda tonight? Patrick? 8.4.1. Okay, we'll make a note of that, please, Andrea. Okay. And Martina as well. Okay. We have two people that have declared a conflict of interest on 8.4.1. So we'll make note of that in the minutes, please. The fourth item, no more disclosure of conflict. Everybody else is okay. We'll move on to 4, adoption of the minutes, the draft minutes of September 8th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes, and that is on page 3, I believe. Give everybody a couple of minutes to look at those. Okay, motion, okay, moved by Wayne, second by Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. Does anybody have, item number 5 is business arising from the minutes. Does anybody have anything arising from those minutes? Okay, we'll move on to number 6, which is our RCMP report. Welcome, Sergeant Robinson.
Thank you. It's always so nerve-wracking going first. For our police activity in the month of September, persons crimes remained consistent with both last month and last year. That's 23 and 16 respectively, and 19 this year. Assault accounted for 8 of those occurrences, and also the largest drop, with 3 of these being cleared by charge or charges recommended. We also had 2 sexual offenses reported, one which resulted in charges being laid. Property crime dropped to 44 occurrences in September, down from 57 in August and 63 in last September. Mischief, the most frequent occurrence type at 17, followed by theft under 5,000 with 15. 2 residential break-and-enters were also reported. Both are still open and under investigation. 1 vehicle was reported stolen. We had 6 drug enforcement occurrences reported, 2 of which we cleared. Traffic occurrences accounted for 183, up from 61 last month, and consistent with last September. Impaired driving accounted for 5 occurrences. 3 of these were by alcohol. 1 was cleared by charge, or charges recommended, and 2 by alcohol and a drug, where they resulted in no charges. Speeding violations accounted for 68 occurrences, and other traffic violations accounted for 81, up from 24 last month. It was a good month in highway safety this month. There were also 3 check stops documented. Overall, 425 occurrences were recorded, with 418 of those being founded or still under investigation. This is consistent with last month, which had 431, and then last year with 394, which was a little bit less. With respect to community policing and policing initiatives, the RCMP investigated and executed a search warrant at a residence in Abney. 2 people were arrested and police seized firearms and cocaine. Kings District also conducted another search warrant at a residence in Abney a week later, arresting 2 individuals and charging 1 for possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking. Kings RCMP also responded to a collision in Millview that resulted in the seizure of an unsafely stored firearm inside the vehicle and use of the police dog to track the driver who was located, arrested, and charged with the weapons offense and impaired operation of a motor vehicle. We also responded to and investigated another collision in Mount Mellick where the single occupant was seriously injured. The occurrence is still being investigated to determine if an offense was committed. Additionally, an assault in Montague and Eldon, a failure to provide breath sample in Montague, and several driving while disqualified in Vernon Bridge, Murray River and Bridgetown, and possession of cannabis inside of a motor vehicle in Murray River and Georgetown, where arrests were made or charges sworn or highway traffic infractions applied. We also performed several targeted release order compliance checks, and we partnered with the electronic monitoring and parole to monitor subjects in the district. And we also made time to attend community events, and we also conducted hundreds of hours of proactive patrols in the district. I think it was at 501 was the number I had for. Further training was taken with respect to collision analyst and also French language training. On the French language training side, Surrey has been designated a bilingual detachment, so that messaging will be coming out. It doesn't impact us here, but obviously Surrey is, it's good news for Surrey detachment. Traffic enforcement program, overall, we did check stops in Morel, Rollo Bay, Maple Hill, Hermanville, Cardigan, St. Peters, Bridgetown, Fortune Bridge, Dingwells Mills, and New Perth. And we also did specific traffic enforcement in Morel along Route 3 to monitor school bus safety, and Cardigan, which was to monitor the misuse of a new turning lane. With respect to Three Rivers specific, you'll see the stats that I provided at the forefront is the thefts, mischief, and mental health. Those were the calls that led the impact on the detachment, but a significant amount of calls and overall, you can see that we had 240 calls for service in Three Rivers compared to 680 in the entire district. So just about a third. And finally, with respect to the tickets, we issued 113 tickets in Southern Kings for the month. The majority of being speeding 29 kilometers or less. And second to that was operating a vehicle with an invalid inspection sticker. So I always like to tell people, don't give us a reason to pull you over, right? So drive safely, drive according to the law, but you know, we see a sticker that's expired, we're going to check you out if we have the time. So, and that often leads to other things. So, so when I see those with a high ticket count, that's it tells me that we have time to pay attention, and we're looking for reasons to check and make sure everybody's safe. So, and then there was 42 warnings on top of that, and that's all I have.
Okay, well, thanks for the advice, and hopefully we'll heed it and we'll get pulled over. Councillor Spin, you have a question?
Just food for thought. How many check stops would you do in a year?
Oh, I don't know. I could come back with that number. I'd have to run it. Some months we do low, some months we do high, right? It all depends on what's going on with the numbers and the watches and how often we get traffic services in the area. So,
Okay. And the other one
I
was,
would like to say, you know, anyways, I wouldn't want to guess for fear of being wrong, but I can definitely run that number when I get back to the office tonight or tomorrow.
I'd just like to
Yeah.
see what it was for curious. And the other one, obstruct enjoyment.
So that's mischief. So there's 4 sections in the criminal code with respect to mischief. It's causing damage under 5,000, causing damage over 5,000, causing damage to data, and then obstructing the enjoyment of a property. If you're interfering with somebody's ability to legally use property, it falls into the mischief category.
Very interesting. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you again, and thank you for taking the time to come out and give us this report every month. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at Number 7 on our agenda, which is presenters and delegations. We have 3 presenters tonight who've registered to speak, and the first one is Mike Redmond.
So Mike's got a presentation on my computer that I'll have to hook up.
Okay, so Mike wants to speak about community mental health and addictions, and he has a presentation with him. So we'll wait till that gets set up.
Sure. You're not gonna make me techie here, are you?
Oh, there we go.
Sure. Probably hasn't been here before, so I should say we value your input and registered speakers are allowed 5 minutes to present their views. And during the presentation, council members will not engage in dialogue or debate, but may ask questions afterwards. To ensure productive and respectful discussion, speakers are encouraged to maintain a professional tone and a personal attacks and focuses on matters with the jurisdiction of the municipality. While speakers presenting, all others in attendance must remain quiet and seated to allow the speaker to be heard.
I can see it, it'll flip.
Yeah,
Perfect.
there you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Worship. Would it be prudent for me to ask for an allowance of potentially going over the 5 minutes, just in case? I'm not, I'm hoping I don't, but one never knows.
Okay, council, can Mike have some more minutes, or is that? You'll move that he has 5 extra minutes, okay? Anybody? Okay, no problem.
I will try to be brief.
Okay.
And I appreciate you taking the time and the dialogue I've had with John and Andrea before this. Just before I start, I am a resident of Three Rivers, and I just want to take the opportunity, because I don't get a chance to see much of you all, but I read about you in the newspaper often, I guess, and on CBC. So as a family that lives in Three Rivers, I appreciate the time and energy that council puts into the community. And it's not always with great credence and thanks that we get to put the time in, so I do appreciate everything that you do and that you try to do. We might not always agree, but we all are looking for the best for our community, and I think I would commend you all on that as well. I am the executive director of the Quality Project. We operate the emergency shelter in Summerside. We have now for, well, I guess this will be our 13th month with the province of Prince Edward Island. But that's not why I'm here today. I am here to talk about youth and our youth programs and things that I see as from the standpoint of not only being somebody that runs a business, but that works in community and working in the mental health side in Charlottetown and working in the mental health side in Summerside West. I've seen things in quite a different light, and we could have that discussion all night. However, I want to talk about Kings County today. So, just to give you an idea of who we are and what we do, the Quality Project is a not-for-profit organization that has provided shelter, advocacy, and wraparound resources for the homeless and underserved communities in Prince Edward Island. Our team has been providing outreach services initiatives since 2021, and those are kind of our pillars of support. Housing, justice, child and family, and mental health and addictions. So usually when we have somebody enter one of those pillars, if you would, usually they fall into 2 or 3 of them, and usually what we try to do is help advocate. And a lot of people get stuck, whether it's in the justice system or dealing with child and family, don't know how to navigate those systems. So we try to help as much as we possibly can. Probably within Kings County, 2 to 3 calls a week, housing being probably the biggest one. So trying to put some numbers together and to try to understand some of the rationales too. It's the importance of note, these were some information that we had gathered, some mortgage brokers, and the average house prices in Kings County comparative to Charlottetown. And just kind of a little bit of synopsis of what a monthly mortgage rate would look like. And there's a reason why I'm going down this road. And then I want to talk a little bit quickly about the realities of the cost of living too. So I'm a business owner. We have 23 employees in Summerside. Probably 95% of those employees work full-time for me and part-time somewhere else, basically because they can't make ends meet, right? And if you look at the costs, and we could debate these back and forth all day, but we all know that it's becoming very, very difficult to manage a household or an apartment and be able to pay your bills, let alone look at the extras of life, and that is, you know, whether it be out of pocket for medical or dental, credit cards, student loans, things like that. Those are add-ons to an already existing difficult. And I'll leave those for your consumption, and I appreciate that. I am cognizant of the time. The one thing I wanted to draw back to was the health assessment that Montague did in 2015-16. And I know it is 10 years. It's amazing how quick. But I think that those numbers are really, really relevant to where we are at today. So when you looked at the, you know, after-tax income was approximately $17,000, less than the provincial average. Less than 30% of Montague residents have had a post-secondary education. 48% of tenant households were subsidized compared to 16% across the province. Over half of Montague's families are single-parent families. Compare that with 28% on PEI and 27% across Canada. And food insecurity on PEI was 23.6%. And a third of those are children. I like this reference because it's so very true. Poverty and lack of social inclusion are fundamental challenges in Kings County. Those families struggling to put food on the table are less likely to have their children play sports, join clubs, participate in art programs, etc. And I'm sure you all read CBC this morning or The Guardian about the minor hockey costs that have gone up. So that's our reality too. So we see the financial barriers, fees and registration, equipment, and transportation could be a major hurdle for children from low-income families, especially for single-parent families too. So lack of programming. In some areas, there are insufficient community-based sports programs to offer less expensive alternative costs to organized sports. And they just point out some of the barriers for children with disabilities. Inaccessible facilities. Many facilities are not equipped for children to access with various disabilities. Lack of adapted programs. There's a shortage of high-quality adapted programs and trained coaches who can support children in different abilities and levels. Inadequate equipment. Lack of appropriate and accessible sports equipment further discourages participation with children with disabilities. So systemic cultural barriers. I mean, we can go through these quickly. Discrimination, lack of choice, and competitive overemphasis. And I will point out the competitive overemphasis. We did start a program this summer where we developed an idea with Vernon River School, where a lot of the kids, we've seen a high number of kids who are on the spectrum and weren't able to access sports. So after the age of 10 or 11, when things started to get competitive, there's a huge drop-off, especially in soccer. So we piloted a program this summer, and we had 16 kids register, and we donated all that money to a charitable organization. So obviously the consequences of exclusion, it's negative health outcomes. Low participation in sports, art, music, or extracurricular activities is associated with increased withdrawal and depression and symptoms in children. Loss of talent, the exclusion of talented children from underserved communities limits the overall talent pool and hinders sport development, music development, art, or whatever have you. A lack of inclusion denies children the opportunity to experience the positive social and health outcomes associated with sports, higher risk negativity interactions with the justice system. So solutions. So these are some of the ideas. I didn't want to come here and say, these are our problems, they're your problems now. We want to work with the community, within the community, and I'm offering my volunteer services as well to help in any way I can. We want to try to address financial barriers, increase opportunities for kids to access programs regardless of economic challenges, and I can get into that a little bit more at the end. Develop quality programs, so focus on creating quality programs within the community, train community volunteers and coaches, train and recruit volunteers in the community, promote a culture of inclusion, foster an environment where diversity is valued and everyone has equal access to sports, art, music, woodworking, horticulture, whatever have you. And partner with other organizations. So partner with other not-for-profits and policy or police services to create a greater sense of community and belonging. Just to give you a quick anecdote, Mike Robinson, who come up and presented to you, he was my soccer goalie in 1993 at Colonel Gray, so that shows my age, probably his age too, but he was just a fair goalie, by the way, too, so I hope he's a better police officer than he was a goalie. I can say that when he's gone out the door. But I wanted to share something with you. So at Vernon River School, we started a futsal program, which is basically indoor soccer played on gym. Vernon River never had a soccer team, a junior high team in 20 years. They now have a team, and they're actually not bad, right? So, but what's successful about that is we were able to develop a program where there was a suggested donation that went back to the home and school of that school, and they were able to use that obviously to buy extra gear and uniforms and things like that. So they've been very, very successful. We have 21 kids, I think, on that team this year. And there's a couple of kids that are on the spectrum but also have the ability to come and play, which is really, really good. As I mentioned before, we did a Sport for Play program this summer where we had 16 kids register. And again, registrations were by donation, and we were able to donate to a charity. We ran in our program at Birchwood Junior High, and Luann Inman, who was at Montague, was now at Birchwood. We started in our program a couple years ago. We only had 2 or 3 kids, but we really did it by minimal costs. We now have about 20 kids in our program. The reason why I bring that up is because it's not just about sports, it's about diversity and opportunity. Sorry.
We're just running out of time.
Okay, I'm going quick. And then, just as I was talking there, myself and Mike are actually working on a ball hockey program within the school so that the first interactions with our children with the RCMP are not a negative one. So we recognize we have to address these challenges. We want to form a committee of community leaders, utilize an ABCD approach, and that's the end of my presentation.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
Went
that's
as
good.
quickly as I could.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So questions for Mike? Go ahead, Ann.
So what can we as Three Rivers do to help?
I think we need leadership, and it's not fair, because I know things have changed so dramatically that we look at mental health and addiction, we're looking at communities to resolve that. It's a provincial issue, but we need to be supporting as well, right? So that's certainly one. I'm looking for you guys to be a leader, right? Someone to say, look, we're going to take this on, we're going to invite people out, start a roundtable, and then let it start organically and build within the community. The one thing that drives families to Three Rivers and Montague, certainly my family, was access to pools, to rinks, to outdoor facilities, and the sense of small community. And I think that those are things that we all value. Can we do more? I am very concerned, and I will leave this with you. There is an overrepresentation of young men in the correction system, in the youth correction system down here in Summerside that are from Kings County. And I hear that quite readily. So how do we change those trends? Well, we have to invest upfront. If we don't invest upfront, we're going to be investing on the other end of it, and we don't want to invest in policing.
Okay, any more? Wayne, go ahead.
I think it's great that if we can all work together and get, we'll say, the real little Johnnies of the world that can't afford to play, based off a single parent or whatever, and, I think it'd just be great if we can get everybody going in the same direction and for the same cause, and get kids off the street and get them play soccer, hockey, whatever. So.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Okay, Martina, go ahead.
Are you like suggesting that we set up an equality project here in Three Rivers?
No, what I'm suggesting is that Three Rivers be the leader in developing people to come to the table with, because I think you have a lot of variety in the community already, whether it's the art programs, Rebel Art, like that's a phenomenal program. Can we take some of those leaders, put them at the table and say, what can we do with the facilities that we have? And we do have some phenomenal facilities. Is there something that can be improved? Yes, I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But I think if we put the right people at the table, Martina, we could come up with a plan.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll certainly do be in touch. Okay, our second presenter tonight is Janice Macbeth. And Janice's topic is the 32 square foot sign at PID 1081637. What street is that? That's AA McDonald Highway. So we'll ask Janice to come to the podium. So
I assume that's on? Yes, it is. Good evening. My name is Janice Macbeth, and I'm a resident of Three Rivers. Tonight, I'm addressing Development 8.4.1, which refers to the placement of a 32-square-foot sign erected prior to approval by the town. And the sign says, in one of three messages, Israel, stop the starvation of mothers and babies in Gaza. The sign is erected at the top of Bell's Hill, which some consider the entry to our community of Montague, Brudenell, and Lower Montague. Israel is named on the sign, but Israel could be replaced with any other country that is presently starving women and children in any war zone in the world. This sign could be considered anti-Semitic. It is not compatible or functional in a socially responsible community. I would suggest that the best course of action would be to have the sign removed. The town can follow as a template the town's proclamation policy, which says under applications for flag raising that at no time will the town of Three Rivers display flags deemed to be inappropriate or offensive in nature, or those supporting discrimination, prejudice, political, or religious movements. It is the town's responsibility to be inclusive of all residents without prejudice. If the sign remains intact and is approved tonight, then the town is supporting political and religious movements, which is clearly outside of your mandate, particularly also outside of our country. The town should move forward with a clear policy on signage pertaining to entries placed along provincial designated highways and entry points to the town. Change the word flag to sign and adopt a new policy. I am certainly not in any way suggesting that we should restrict what people put on their front yards. This is not in anyone's front yard. It's along our highway into Montague. Has anyone contacted the province to see what their sign policy may be? Perhaps you might want to look at that when you're developing your own. In my opinion, the approval of this type of signage will set precedent for future signs being erected in our community, and council must consider the future implications and division this will cause in the community in the future. Does anyone have any questions?
any questions for Janice? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Janice.
The only other thing I just wanted to mention, I guess, just based on what Mr. Redmond said, and
Janice, you had one topic, so that was your topic.
am I out of time?
You're not at a time, but one topic is, the topic, you spoke about the topic that you.
Okay, I'll speak to Mr. Redmond personally about the vacancies in the town of Three Rivers and the nonprofits that maybe he could contact to access.
We'll move on to our next speaker. who is Charles Hicken, and Mr. Hicken wants to talk about our audited financial statement. You'll have to turn the podium mic on there. Okay, you're live now.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Hicken from Albion. As a result of the approval of a deputy CAO at the last council meeting, I decided to compare our administrative salaries costs with similar municipalities in PEI. In order to get accurate financial statements, I used audited financial reports for the years ending March 31st, 2024, and the 2021 population census.
Excuse me, Charlie, is this about our audit? What I have here is you want to talk about our Three Rivers audited financial
It
statement.
certainly is.
You're quoting other people's here.
I'm talking about both, and I understand that you're not supposed to be interrupting me.
Charlie, I run the meeting, and if I think it's inappropriate or off the topic, I have every right to interrupt.
So you do not follow the policy.
It's not a policy, have a right as the mayor who chairs the meeting. You have down here that you want to talk about our audited financial statements.
And that's what I'm doing.
You're not, as far as I know, you're talking about other people's.
I'm talking about ours compared to other people's, is what I'm talking about.
That's not what you said you wanted to talk about.
Now, by dividing,
As long as it's about our financial statement, you can continue. But if
will
you're off that
continue.
topic, then
I will continue.
we'll ask you to sit down.
Our audited financial statements for administration salaries is $709,347 in the 2024 period. This is twice what some of the other municipalities are. Could council please explain to the taxpayers why we're paying such high administrative salaries?
Do you want us to answer that right now?
I'd like to finish first, please.
Go ahead.
At the last council meeting, a new position of deputy CAO was approved. However, according to the CAO's report, this is not what happened. Instead, the town manager of corporate services was reclassified, and a part of the duties of the CAO was added to her workload. This decision was not what council approved. I ask you, who is running this town, councillor or the backroom boys? Any questions?
Yes, the CAO will speak to that, your notes in his, your remarks in his report, okay? And if you want some further information, then you'll have to send us the comparisons that you're referring to, otherwise we can't speak to them, what towns and other audited financial reports that you compared them to.
I most certainly will.
You can
And I
email
hope
it.
you will provide that information to all taxpayers.
You can email them to the CAO.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll move along to. Okay, reports. This one. Okay, we move along to reports, 8.1. So the mayor's report is the first report. It's a written report. I'll just go over quickly some of the things in it. We're transitioning into fall, so our rinks are open, and they have, I understand that the sign up for minor hockey is probably higher than it's ever been. We still have people on the pickleball courts in Cardigan, and I've had some great compliments on those courts, so I want to thank maintenance for looking after those, and they really seem to be being used from what I can understand. We have several construction projects underway to enhance our community spaces. New playground equipment in Cardigan, Village Green, and Montague. You may have noticed is the addition of new street lights and benches to improve accessibility and comfort for residents and visitors. Looking ahead, we have Small Business Week, October 20th. This year, we invite residents to take part in Discover, Shop, and Win, a celebration of local entrepreneurship. Details about participating business can be found on Three Rivers and CBDC sites, Facebook pages, and we're proud to sponsor this initiative and encourage everyone to support our local shops and services. Since our last council meeting, I've had the privilege of attending a number of events, the opening ceremonies for the opening and closing ceremonies for the provincial 55-plus games in Brudenell, the sod turning for the new duplex at for the Habitat Humanity in Georgetown, and the observance of National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. There's always in-house meetings and number of meetings that I've listed there. And as always, I welcome the opportunity to connect with residents. If you wish to speak with me, please contact the town hall to arrange a meeting or reach out by phone or email. I'm at the town hall most days and happy to hear from residents. Okay. And the next on our agenda is 8.2, which is the CAO's report.
Thanks, Your Worship. Just a couple items. My report is in your package. August financial statements are in, and you'll see once again that we're continuing with a surplus, and which allowed us to cover off a number of capital items under our current surplus. Following Council's approval of the 2024-25 audited financial statements, we did receive our management letter from the town's auditor, which I shared with Council. Pleased to report that the management letter was concise and contained only 3 minor recommendations for improvement, and which reflects the strong financial management of our finance and accounting staff. I will note that Montague Water and Sewer Corporation holds a loan with CIBC that is scheduled for renewal on November 1. The estimated outstanding balance at the time of the renewal is approximately $68,021. In preparation, staff reached out to multiple financial institutions to obtain interest rate quotes. The following options will be presented for Council's consideration and will be on the meeting agenda a little later on. On HR, pleased to announce some changes. The posting for the accounting clerk position, we had great interest there, and we're welcome Rachel Llewellyn to our team. Rachel is an experienced accounting professional, resident of Three Rivers, and has been employed with CBDC. We're also pleased to welcome Philip Hebert as Arena and Facilities Manager for Cavendish Farms Wellness Center and the Three Rivers Sportsplex. Philip is a longtime volunteer and played an important role in the successful operation of the Sportsplex in Georgetown. We're already seeing the benefits of United Arena Management, so we're seeing staff working at both facilities, which is great to see, and has a much more responsible way of managing the 2 facilities. And Philip also a proud resident of Three Rivers. And as mentioned, we did create a Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, and that position did generate a significant interest from both residents and applicants. This is a new role, and it does replace the former Manager of Community Services position. And it does come at a minimal financial cost to the town, as we're not adding an additional staff member. We did have a competitive process. There were several strong candidates. Representative of MC Advisory and myself conducted the interviews, and as a result, we appointed Danielle Herring as the Deputy CAO. She had served as the Town Manager of Corporate Services and had previously acted as Deputy CAO in 2023. She's been with the town for 5 years and has more than 20 years of experience in municipal government. She also holds 2 professional certificates from Dalhousie. And following that appointment, I will be reaching out because there will be some other pieces fall, and I will be looking at reclassifying some other positions. This one was not a reclassification. It was a new position that was approved at the last council meeting. I think a special meeting, actually. And just a couple of notes on festival events. We had a great 55-plus games. There was a postmortem done, and the event turned out to be a great success, thanks to Jonathan and others that helped with that. Planning is already underway for the Winterville Festival, which will return on January 23rd to 25th, 2026. Planning and development staff are still very busy supporting residents and businesses. You'll see from the development report that there's still many people who are investing in Three Rivers. And we have steady ongoing applications. And on the public works side, I would encourage council residents to check out the improvements on Main Street in Montague. Staff installed several new benches and the work on installing the new street lights and the bridge continues. We're working on installing a new playground in Cardigan and have several other pieces in the queue. And that's my report, but I will reach out to our finance assistant manager, and perhaps she can comment on the audited financial statements.
Thank you, John. I would like to just give a quick response to Charlie on the audited financial statements. On our 2024 fiscal year financial statements, all of our salaries, that would be maintenance and administration and public works, are all lumped in one line, given a total of $702,000 or 700 and some thousand. I just quickly pulled the town of Cornwall's financial statements for 2024, and they put theirs on different lines. They have administration separate from public works, separate from planning. And adding those three together, they were $971,503. So we were $200 and some thousand less on that fiscal year in salaries. If you want more clarification, I can send you my data. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John, for that CAO report. There is a lot going on. There always is. It's a busy office most days. And the planning, next on our agenda is our planning board report 8.4, which is one of the, been continually busy. And we have a large number of things that they've approved there. If you've had a chance to look at the report, and if anybody has any questions for planning, both Patrick and Lee are here tonight. Okay, if not, we'll move on to 8.4.1, which is, yep, okay. And at that time, we'll ask Martina and Patrick to leave the chambers, please.
Your Worship,
Yes.
I thought when people were in conflict now, they didn't have to leave the room, that they couldn't add anything to the conversation. Since when do we start asking people to leave?
I guess we do. No, go ahead.
You are correct. We have been, people can stay but not participate in the conversation.
Okay, so it's up to you, it's up to Patrick and Martina if you'd like to stay or if you'd like to leave. Okay, so I'll turn it over to the chair of planning.
Thank you. Okay, 8.4.1. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion. The 32 square foot ground mounted sign on land at Tower Road, PID 10811637, subject to the following conditions. 1, the sign content shall be limited to the 3 proposals in the submission package. 2, the permit subject of this proposal is time limited for a period of not exceeding 12 months from the date of permit issue. And condition 3, the plans condition the application form dated August 19th, 2025. Approved sign 1, condemn the killing of 186 journalists in Gaza. Approved sign 2, feed the babies of Gaza. Approved sign 3, Israel stop starvation of mothers and babies of Gaza.
Okay. Need a mover and a seconder for? Moved by Councillor Van Dyke, second by?
Second.
Okay, second by Councillor Monroe. Discussion on the motion?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm very leery with this, as I think it's gonna open up a can of worms. I can envision a myriad of different signs coming up now along the same line. I think we're dancing pretty close to, not illegality here, but, I'm not in favor of this.
Okay. Cindy?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll not be supporting this. I feel if you want to say something like that, you have a big yard of your own and you can put it on your front lawn. I was also for the same with the flags. I had my perspective on that as well, that we fly in the town. I believe the Canadian flag and the province flag is two, that's the only two we need. It encompasses everybody. And I will be voting against this for the reasons of, I don't think we need to be putting that on the views of coming into the town. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Councillor Spin?
Yeah, I wouldn't be supporting this either, so.
In Canada, we live based on a Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and one of the freedoms is the freedom of expression. And freedom of expression is, in this case, I understand why it's difficult. I heard our residents speak towards it. I hear what my fellow councillors are saying towards it. But our laws are very clear. And the thing I want to make sure that you are voting no, you understand that limits to freedom of expression can only be really brought about whenever it is promoting hate speech or it is promoting slander. And as I look at this sign, I've rolled around with it in my mind for the past week. But I eventually come to the realization that I don't think it pertains to hate, and I don't think it pertains to slander either. So in those cases, in order to maintain truth towards our system, I will be supporting this and moving it forward.
Okay. Can I just ask planning a question? There's nothing, I can direct it to the chair. There's nothing in our regulations can you just speak to that, to how our regulations apply to?
There's nothing in our bylaws which
Bylaws, sorry.
prevents us from approving these signs.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Cindy?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Van Dyke, but I don't believe we're stopping anybody from saying what they want to say. They can just have the sign on their own lawn. I'm like John over there, John McFarland. I think that we're opening a big can of worms here.
It's my understanding that the applicant, this is their land that they're putting this on. Am I correct? Okay.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? All in favor of the motion? Okay, opposed? Okay, so we got a tie? Correct. So I guess the mayor's gonna have to break the tie. If the sign is not against our bylaw, then I have a hard time voting against it. I will have to agree with the motion. So the motion is carried. Okay. Okay, Chair?
Okay, so we move on to 8.4.2. The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommend to council to approve the following motion. The erection of a meteorological mast up to 80 meters in height and a major variance of 627% for height on land at St. George's Road, PID 164871, subject to the following conditions. 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. 2, all work must be undertaken in accordance with the approved plans, including the use, location, and dimensions provided. Any proposed changes or revisions must be submitted to the town for approval. 3, the permit subject of this proposal is time limited for a period not exceeding 36 months from the date of erection of the mast, after which the mast and all associated structures shall be removed from the site. 4, the final siting of the mast shall be shown on a site plan at an appropriate scale, together with all ground-based anchorages and peripheral equipment. All details to be agreed by the development officer together with the relevant consultees. 5, the permit is subject to completion and final approval of the associated consolidated proposal. 6, the plans condition, the development permit application received September 2nd, 2025, drawing site 2 dated September 2nd, 2025, NRG 50 meter, 60 meter, and 80 meter mast details received August 28th, 2025, site plan received August 28th, 2025.
Okay, mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Monroe, second by Councilor McDonald. Any questions for the chair? Go ahead, Councilor.
So, from the time of the permit, the erection of this and the time it comes down would be 48 months total. So if we give a permit, they would have to start tearing this back down in 48 months, right, by my math? Just, I'd like to see a timeline, like it seems loose. So it's 12 months.
Okay, go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, Your Worship. As we know, permits have a 12-month implementation period. No, I don't expect it's going to be 12 months from now that we see this mast. I expect it'll be within that period. And from the date of erection, the 3-year monitoring period would commence. So it could be up to a 4-year period. You're correct in the loose math. And the data that we got in the submissions was monitoring periods are between 2 and 3 years. Now this will depend on the data being collected and the quality of that data. That will be for the applicant to chew through that. But the assurance through the conditional setup is that this mast will be removed after that period, again up to 48 months.
Okay, any further questions? Councilor McFarland?
Thank you, Your Worship. This is being erected by a company in Halifax, correct? Yeah. On private property, or private residence property?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
great, thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried. Okay, we're back to 8.4.3. Thanks. I'll
Okay,
turn it over to
thank
the
you.
chair.
The Town of Three Rivers Planning Board recommends to council to approve the following motion. The special exemption development proposal to add an 80 by 30 meter fenced-in section to the existing substation, including concrete pads for equipment, steel structure for equipment, and fence extension at 1349 Collings Road, PID 429837, subject to the following conditions. 1, the permit is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. 2, all work must be undertaken in accordance with the approved plans, including the use, location, and dimensions provided. All proposed changes or revisions must be submitted to the town for approval. 3, the permit is subject to completion and final approval of the associated consolidated proposal. Condition 4, the plans condition, development permit application received August 29th, 2025. Drawing number 264598-0000-DD10-PLN-002-001, REVA received September 4th, 2025.
Okay, mover and a seconder for, moved by Counselor McFarland, second by Counselor Spin. Any questions for the chair? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Okay, that brings us down to our financial report. Our August financial report, and I'll turn that over to Dawn.
Thank you, Your Worship. This financial report is for August 31st, 2025. We have total revenues of $2,017,561, which puts us about $158,000 over budget. Our expenses came in at 1.8 million, which puts us at 51,000 under budget. It gives us an operating surplus to date of 154,229. We did do some capital purchases. We have some upgrades to the Cardigan Ball Field. We did some signs, pickleball nets, picnic tables, water and arm and pump tank, Sackville pathway designs, computers, pressure washers, some painting at the King's Playhouse, and then our loan payments. After all those capital expenses, we have a surplus of $6,360.
Thank you. Any questions for Dawn? Any questions? Okay, thank you, Dawn. Okay, we're down to 9, which is a loan renewal motion. I'll ask Danielle to take that over. I think John talked about this in a CAO report, so we just have a motion, just the motion.
Thank you, Your Worship. The motion is, be it resolved that the Town of Three Rivers Council approves a loan through Scotiabank in the estimated amount of $68,021 to renew an existing loan held by the Montague Water and Sewer Corporation. The loan will be repaid in full over a 5-year term at an interest rate of 3.64%, with estimated monthly blended payments of approximately $1,241.70. The borrowing falls within the town's debt limits as outlined in the general borrowing bylaw.
Okay, need a move by Councillor Van Donkersgoed and seconder? Councillor Spin, okay, any questions on that or all in favor? Okay, motion is carried. And now we're down to 10, which is requests for decisions from Committee of Council. The first one is 10.1, application, 25-31, application for active transportation funding. And I'll ask Dorothy to take that. There's just, I guess there's just a motion. So the motion is, be it resolved that the application be made to active transportation funding for John Beer Drive sidewalk priority 1 and Cardigan active pathway priority 2. And mover and a seconder? Okay, moved by Councillor McLean, second by Councillor McFarland. Discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that motion is carried. Okay, the next one is 25-32, landscaping stone pathway Sackville to Station Street. So the motion is be resolved that the PEI patio be awarded the landscaping stone pathway Station Street to Sackville Street pathway in the amount of $352,768.65 with HST $405,683.95. Funding of $160,000 will be obtained from current operations, $101,620, 15 from CBBF, 12.5.7, and 914750 from CBBF, 12.5.10. Number of funding streams, okay, mover, seconder? Moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed, seconded by Councillor McLean. Any discussion on that motion? Okay,
They're not local, are they?
I believe they are.
There?
Yeah, they are. I think they're. Yeah, we've had them do a couple. Yeah,
Yes. But
Yeah.
I was just wondering if they were local, but,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, that motion is carried as well.
Second.
Your worship, just, these quotes are held to those dollar figures, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you.
With the purchase of the equipment that we purchased last year, it was my understanding that the town would assume some of the responsibilities in terms of snow clearing in these areas, such as Cavendish Farms Wellness Center. Am I remiss, or am I recollecting incorrectly?
I think Dorothy can speak to that, but if I'm correct, we did take on Cardigan Fire Hall, Sportsplex, and King's Playhouse last year, and I think the addition to Wellness Center would stretch our resources.
I guess that was my question. I'm not questioning it. I'm just wondering, do we have the resources within Montague, proper Montague, in terms of handling Cavendish Farms Wellness Center?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, we don't have the capacity to handle the wellness center, although we will be taking on the active transportation pathway in Brudenell as well this year.
Okay, motion is carried. Okay, now we come to the part of our meeting, which is the closed session. So I'll have a motion to close the session, to close this meeting and move into the, to, the closed session, sorry.
We're talking sensitive stuff, so they can't stay in the hallway.
Okay. Okay, we'll ask you to leave the building, please, because this is, yeah. Just because out there is not, it's not soundproof. Okay. Okay, motion to, move into the closed session. Alan, second by Cindy. Okay, all in favor? Okay. Okay, we've had a motion to go back into an open meeting, and we do have, one motion from that closed meeting. And I'll read the motion. It's be it resolved that the council of the town of Three Rivers hereby approves the following changes to the town's organizational structure. 1, the council approve an amended salary grid as presented to council on October 14th, 2025. 2, that the position Assistant Manager of Corporate Services be reclassified to Manager of Finance and approve the job description as presented. Salary for this position is to be set at grade 12 on the salary grid. 3, that one of the accounting clerk positions be reclassified to Finance and Accounting Coordinator and approve the job description as presented. 4, the salary for Finance and Accounting Coordinator be set at grade 7 on the town of Three Rivers pay grade with a range of $51,577.47 to $64,446.84. 5, that the position of Administrative Assistant Reception be classified to Accounting Clerk. Mover and a seconder. So moved. Moved by Councilor Van Donkersgoed, second by Councilor McFarland. Questions, comments, discussion?
In our package, the figures are different.
In the salary?
Yeah. Oh, are they?
The proper salary, sorry, the proper salary should be the 49 to.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so let me,
Let me pull it up here.
yeah. So the salary grade is in here, 49?
Yeah, 49 to 66.
Okay, the one I read then is incorrect. Okay, so I'll read this one again, the correct one then. So this is the correction on number 4. The salary for Finance and Accounting Coordinator be set at grade 7 on the town of Three Rivers pay grid with a range of $49,074.31 to $66,468.40. Okay, it was moved, you were second. And Councilor Van Donkersgoed moved it, and Councilor Crown second. Okay, thank you, Cindy, for pointing that out. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion is carried. Motion for adjournment. Okay, all in favor?